You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
Alright, so I couldn't really find too many comments on the last One County challenge that were mad at me for switching characters, so I am kind of beating a dead horse at this point. However, to make up for that, today we aren't only going to be doing another One County challenge, but we are actually going for a One Barony challenge. That's right, the place where I am going to be playing has only one castle barony, and we won't build another one the entire game. So are we even going to be able to amass any strength, or will we be raided the entire time? You're just gonna have to watch to find out.
I hate this channel.
So there are a few counties in Crusader Kings 3 that only have one barony built in them, but I think the one that is going to give us the best chance of a fun and exciting game is the county on this tiny piece of land right here, the Isle of Man. The reason I thought it would be a lot of fun to play as the Isle of Man for our One Barony challenge is because of this decision right here to elevate the kingdom of Man and the Isles. This decision has a bunch of really crazy effects that we'll get into a little bit later in the game, but the main thing you have to know is to be able to pull this off, we have to hit the Living Legend level of fame, which requires us to go all the way to the last level of fame here, and it costs a ton of piety. It costs a ton of prestige to be able to get there. The only downside of playing as the Isle of Man is that you spawn as this 52-year-old.
I'm dying. Help me.
Normally isn't the end of the world, but since we do want to rush prestige, we probably won't be able to get all the way up to Living Legend as this character, and even his sons, who you can see are 32 and 30, probably by the time they become in charge of our county, they will also probably be too old to be able to get Living Legend. We might have to wait until we play as one of our grandkids to be able to do it. That means that we can spend this time as our first two characters' lives to boost our military strength. The main reason for us wanting to increase our military strength is because we are going to be getting all of our gold and prestige this game from raiding the neighbors surrounding our little island here. One good thing is it looks like we did spawn with some of these light infantry units. They're not my favorite units in the game because they are pretty weak, but I will take a free 200 extra men. One thing I'm going to do before I start this game is actually switch our culture. So right now you can see we're part of the Norse culture, and the only problem with that is because we're only holding one county, we will never be able to be the head of the Norse culture, meaning we'll never be able to choose what innovations we research. But one thing we can do is because our county down here is part of the Gaelic culture, we can actually go ahead right off the bat and form a hybrid culture between the Norse and Gaelic cultures for only 263 prestige. So one thing we have to make sure to do is to select our heritage as North Germanic. Without this, we wouldn't be able to have that decision to elevate the Kingdom of Man and the Isles. This way we get to keep our ethos, which is a really good ethos for the type of raiding military game we're going to be doing, because it gives all our characters prowess, as well as increases our levy size. And then for the traditions, we get to actually take a mix of both of the culture's traditions. And I think what I will go for are coastal warriors, because this gets us those special Norse units. The fisherman one, the shield maiden one, and I'm going to take off some of these ones here because they won't really affect our game too much. So there we go, we can form our hybrid culture, and you can see we are already the culture head, which means we can choose the research, and the main things I want are these military ones, which we have already. So I think I'll just go ahead and pick up onagers for if we have to do some raiding on some difficult castles. As for our lifestyle focus, I'm thinking of actually going down the diplomacy tree just because it'll help us get prestige, especially if we choose this focus here. And prestige is going to be really important. Not forgetting to Living Legend, because again, we won't be doing that with this character, but it's really important because that's what we need to get more men at arms. I do plan on getting a bunch of these heavy infantry Norse special units because you can see they are just ridiculously strong. So I think we're ready to go ahead and start this game. you can see we're actually making a pretty healthy income off the bat, which is going to be good because we can use our gold to go on both hunts and to have host feasts, which do get us a lot of prestige, as you can see here. Just like that, we now hit 500 prestige, meaning I can go over here and pick up another regiment of men-at-arms, and I'll go for the veterans.
You're hired.
I'm also going to invite champions because we do want to be able to have as many knights as possible, because this game will have a lot less military than the nations around us, but I plan on our military being very dense. So having a lot of men-at-arms, a lot of knights, as well as stacking the damage those two do. Down here, Cornwall is another place I would like to do a lot of raiding on, because you can see they are also pretty weak. You can see here we fought an army that had over 100 men more than us. We were still able to win pretty easily, considering we have a lot stronger men-at-arms, as well as having extra more knights than them. Also, fighting in winter definitely helped us. So just like that, we did some good raiding, and now if we walk back to our island, you should see this notification, meaning we get 21 gold and 21 prestige from that raiding trip, which is going to be super helpful because the prestige will help us get to living legend when we play as our grandson, but the gold will help us because it'll let us build all of these tribal buildings, which each one are honestly really strong, especially this war camps one, which you can see if we get to level 2 gives us 2 extra knights, 20% knight effectiveness, as well as a ton of bonuses for our heavy infantry. So I'll start right away working on the first tier of this. So one other reason I'm not too mad that we won't be able to elevate the Kingdom of Isle and Man until we're playing as our grandson is because we actually have to do a couple other things first. Mainly become an independent ruler, which means we have to break away from our liege, who is a lot stronger than us. So we're going to keep an eye on his military strength, and anytime it looks like we might be able to break away from him, we'll try and do that. And the other thing that we have to do is become a Viking, which you get from doing a lot of raids. So whenever we do play as our grandson, we're going to have to raid a bunch as him to get this Viking trait. So for the next 2 lives, we're just going to build our strength on this little island and keep our eyes out if there's an opportunity to escape from our liege. So it looks like we died, which is okay because again, we were very old. So now we get to play as our son, and you can see he's already 38 years old. So that's kind of why I was saying it probably wouldn't be possible for us to get Living Legend with him either. And it probably would be a good idea to get somebody who has the robust trait, which will help one of our sons gets a version of this physical trait. It'll help them with their health, but also with their prowess and prestige, because it is important to the Norse to be strong. So we'll send a marriage offer to this lady. Hopefully we'll get us some good heirs. Another thing we can do is raise a runestone for our dead father, and that'll net us an extra 350 prestige, which is pretty good. Because again, our money, the only purpose of our gold is to actually just bump up our prestige even higher. Okay, so our military just replenished to 822 men. So I think it's about time we go for more raiding adventures. It looks like Wales and Cornwall were all raided recently. But is there somewhere in Ireland we can raid? And it does look like we have some options here.
That was easy.
Oof, okay, I was worried about that battle, but it looks like we were able to pull off a massive win again, only losing 78 men while killing 325. So already our army is very, very dense. So it's about time we head back home to our little island. Another good benefit of raiding is you do get a lot of prisoners when you raid the capitals of the counties. So that's going to help us get even more gold, which we can then spend on hunts, which lower our stress, but then they also get us a good amount of prestige. And then we can use that prestige on getting more buildings, and I'm going to go for the markets because they're pretty good value. Oh, our daughter actually has robust. It would have been amazing to play as her, but we have a son. I don't think we'll be able to play as her. Okay, so here, he actually jumped in with like a lot more men than me, but you can see we're still winning the fight. Let's look at the stats. Yeah, he had almost double our units. You can see he had 1,200, we had 600. And we were still able to get a massive W. Mainly just because we have a lot of men at arms. You can see while their armies are mostly comprised of levies, we have a lot of these really strong men at arms who are a massive help. We even got them again on the way back. So these battles aren't too important right now, but you can see when we are playing as our next son, this is another great way we'll be able to get a lot of prestige, which will help us get Living Legend very quickly. So I have been forgetting to do this, but I will be going for this devotion every time because he gets us an extra 3 martial, as well as some bonuses when it's winter time. So if we do a lot of winter raiding, it could actually be a very nice play for us. Of course, we finally have a son, and he does not have the robust trait or any version of it. So that's kind of disappointing, but we'll try to raise him so that he's a good military leader, because he will be the one we're raising the Isle of Man with. Oh, this is massive. So we're not our own dynasty head, because, I don't know, I think our sister is the head of our family, but she actually chose the Sea Wolves Dynastic Legacy, which is the one I would have chosen if I was the dynasty head, because you can see we actually get plus 100% fame from battles. So like I showed you just like 2 seconds ago, anytime you win a battle, you get a certain amount of prestige. This doubles that amount of prestige, meaning we should definitely have an easy time of getting to Living Legends with our son. I really hope they keep going down this this Dynastic Legacy route here, because some of these are so good for our kind of raiding our raiding type of gameplay that we're going for here. I think it's time we use these guys and start doing some raiding. Pretty much some free gold. They're gonna come attack us here, but should be able to defend that very, very easily. Look at them trying to get us when we're escaping. They weren't even able to touch us. Look at that prestige, man, that's awesome. So you can see it's already taking the plus 100% from battles is already taking into effect. Unfortunately, our son got the pensive trait, which normally is my favorite, but considering we want to send him on a martial education, not the best.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
So it looks like it's about time we go back on some raiding in Wales, because all these places have not been raided in a while, and they are also looking pretty weak. So we should get a pretty healthy amount of gold from all this raiding. Oh, and we've had another son, and this one actually has the hail trait, so that's pretty awesome. Hopefully he'll get a good childhood trait too, and maybe we can disinherit our other son and play as this guy. But we'll have to see, of course. And whoa, okay. This is actually pretty mental. It looks like we just died, so we're gonna be playing as our 4-year-old son, which definitely is not good. But we shouldn't really have to deal with too much. We won't really have to deal with any factions or anything. So I guess it's okay that we're a 4-year-old. At least we'll be able to choose our traits. And so there we go, we have 107 gold. I'm gonna run this back into our capital. And just like that, we have another very nice score. And we really have to think about how we're gonna break away from our liege's life. Probably won't be doing that when I'm still a child. So I just completed some raiding in Ireland, and you can see we are completely full with 117 gold.
Excellent.
You can see we have 400 gold right now, so I think we probably should spend it on upgrading our tribal hold to the tier 2, because it will net us another 150 men, as well as a little bit of gold and some other benefits on the defense in this county. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, because there's not much else I can do when I'm at this age. I can't, to get the Viking trait, which we need to do the major decision, we need to go on a lot of raiding trips, but the problem is that you actually have to be in charge of your own army when you're raiding, and you cannot be in charge of your army until you are 16. So we do have to wait a little bit for that. Okay, so I'm not sure what happened, but I think our previous liege, who was the owner of this duchy, died, and our duchy, the Duchy of Mann, got transferred over to this guy. So now we have a new liege over here who's this 24-year-old who is obese, and they look really weak. It looks like even with their allies, they have less military than us. So what I'm going to do is create an independence faction. Well, I guess I have to wait again until I'm 16, but when I'm 16, I'll try to create an independence faction because this guy is really weak. So it's really our perfect opportunity to get out and become an independent realm. Oh, okay. So here it looks like our liege is in a war, and it looks like they're trying to take our island. But we're definitely not going to let that happen.
Surprise, motherfucker!
We do get the defensive bonuses from fighting here, and wow, we absolutely destroyed them. That's how dense our army is right now. Looks like these guys came back to try to take our capital again.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
This time with only 400 men. Yeah, it's not going to end well for you, buddy. Okay, so our last choice for a personality trait here, and we could go with ambitious, which is pretty good because you get +1 everywhere. But I think what I'll actually do is do sadistic because it's not a sinful trait in the Norse religion. It's just any normal trait. So we do get +4 prowess from this, which is pretty huge. And we can use hostile schemes against our kids, which might come in handy in the future. You never know. And boom, it just looks like we upgraded our tribal hold to a fortified tribal hold. And I'm going to go ahead and construct the palisades in here as well, just so we can get all the buildings built. And you'll see our troops are now at 1.5k, so pretty strong considering we only have 1 barony. Whoa, 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 over here it looks like we're getting raided. Not going to let that happen, that's for sure. And let's take a look. We have a huge bonus. Well, I guess +5 is not like huge, but we do have a nice bonus for defending because we have the fortified tribal hold plus the palisades, which we just finished. And then because we have dexterous fishermen, we actually get another +5 advantage anytime we are fighting on the coast. So all that added up, a +10 in every battle on the coast in our capital is actually pretty decent. And we don't really have to worry about getting invaded much. Okay, so here we go. We hit 16 and we actually got skilled tactician and unyielding defender, which are both very good. I'll definitely take those. You can now see we have a martial ability of 18, which is massive. And now what we're going to want to do is make this a raiding army, and we want to lead it personally every time because we have to go on a bunch of raids to be able to pick up the Viking perk. So I think what I will do first is go and raid in Wales, of course. It's just so open for raiding. And then after I get back from this raid, I think I will declare a independence faction against my king. We will also be going down the martial tree because we do want to pick up this perk right here, which increases our raid speed. Probably won't help that much because raiding is already really quick, but the rest of these perks in the strategies tree are super good as well. I love how weak Wales is. It's just been our raiding ground this entire time. And the bigger your army, the more loot you can hold. So right now you can see we can hold 174 gold with this army, which is absolutely huge. And there we go. So we pretty much filled out our loot that we could hold in this army. So let's run back. Oh, and we actually took control of somebody worth 100 gold. Very nice. And you can see we just made 161 gold, 161 prestige. We are already more than halfway up to illustrious. And then we just have to go up 2 more after that, which is still a lot, but I think it is doable. Take a look at our liege, who, yeah, he is still very weak. So I'm going to go ahead and run a independence faction, and I will press the demands as well.
Ready, fight!
And war it is. And when you look at this, we have such a high fort level over here that their army doesn't even have enough men to start taking our capital. They would need more than 754 men to do that.
Loser, loser.
So we don't even have to worry about them taking our capital while we take his. That's hilarious. Wow, and look, we just took their capital and we already hit 100%, meaning we now get our independence. I think we should also be able to usurp our duchy at the same time. So this is very important because we need to be holding this duchy to be able to do the decision as well. And we can also raise a runestone, which is really good. A clout runestone, let's go. 20 years, we're gonna get plus 50% to our levy size. That's actually massive. Look at this, we can have almost 3,000 men now because of that. That is huge. We'll be able to raid pretty much everybody around here. You'll also be able to see if I put my wife over here to chivalry, we now bump our martial ability up to 27. So we are an amazing commander right now. I'm about to lead my second raiding expedition, and it looks like these guys in the north are all quite weak, so we should be able to run around up here and get as much loot as possible. I kind of want to be getting into as many battles as I can as well, because I do get a lot of prestige for leading these. Like you can see, we just got 177 prestige from that battle, and we're only fighting 300 men. We're pretty much maxed out here, so I'm about to get another 175 gold and prestige. It looks like we're even strong enough to start raiding Mercia, so I'm going to go ahead and raid them as well. Even if they put an army to come fight us, I think we shouldn't have any problem fighting them off, and we would get a pretty healthy amount of prestige from that anyway. Oh my goodness, I was waiting for this. We actually have the option to pick up the Reaver commander trait, and this is huge because it actually takes away 75% of the attrition we get from wandering around in hostile counties, which is awesome. Which is those little like skulls you see when I'm walking around from one county to another in enemy territory. And then look at this. This is what we're waiting for. We get the Viking trait, which again gives us more martial, more prowess, and more prestige. All extremely lovely. So if we take a look at the decision to elevate the Kingdom of Mann and the Isles, you can see we're only missing the Living Legend level of fame, which I think we should be able to get with this character. I think I'm actually going to try going on a raiding trip to Alba, the Kingdom of Alba, because they have a lot of loot and they haven't been raided yet. I'm going to do my best to get some good loot from these guys. And I'm trying to entice people to come and attack me just like that. Perfect. Because again, like you can see, if I am in charge of my raiding party, I get all this prestige. So like I was explaining before, the attrition you take is when you're walking from an enemy county into another enemy county without being like on the border of a sea or one of your borders. And you can see, since we got that perk, the Reaver perk, we're only taking 13 casualties from doing this. So it's actually well worth it to run over, and even if we get 13 casualties, it's really not the end of the world. This is a big chance for us to get a lot of prestige from battle because it's pretty much even odds. Except our army is way stronger, so I'll go ahead and do that. You can see we got 500 from that one battle, so I really should be looking into getting into as many battles as possible to really get our prestige rolling. But for now, I'm going to continue just raiding the absolute crap out of Mercia, because look how big they are, and none of this land is raided. I could probably do 2 or 3 raiding journeys down here. There we go, so we hit Exalted Amongst Men, so now we only need... Is that true? It's 15k for Living Legend? Is that different? I don't remember it being that high, but I guess it is. Okay, I'm gonna have to be doing a lot of raiding, I guess. Okay, and another battle with the Mercia army here. I'm kind of worried for these guys, because if they keep running into me, they're gonna be losing a lot of their men, and they might end up falling apart. So it's been about 10 years, and I'm coming back from a raiding voyage down here in Aquitaine, and we even raided against this kingdom in Spain a little bit. And once we deliver this loot, you should be able to see that we are pretty much halfway there. I actually lost my leg in a battle down here in Spain, so I am now one-legged, which means we get -4 prowess.
Just a flesh wound.
When we are leading our own army, the only thing that matters really is the martial ability. We don't lose any of that from being one-legged, so it should be okay.
Double kill, triple kill, overkill.
I love the trail of raiding you can see anytime I go raiding on the coast of somewhere. It turns out our raiding economy is actually pretty good. We now have 3,000 gold just from raiding. I found some unsuspecting armies over here, so I'm going to attack them in order to get some more prestige from the battles. Just like that, another 600 prestige, so very nice. I find it so funny, like I'm not even part of these wars or whatever is happening, but I'm just killing people because we need more fame. I could just imagine this in real life, an army running around just fighting anybody they see. Another big Mercian army over here. Take them on for a healthy amount. very healthy amount of prestige from that. It looks like we have some peasants here who want to try to rise up against me.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
A whole 1,200, so should be quite easy for us to deal with these guys. Don't even need to raise my full army.
This is where the fun begins.
Should I go back in for Wessex? I feel like I should. The opportunity of raiding all this unraided land is just too enticing for me. Also, if they come and attack me, that's even better. Oh, so it looks like we have even chances, mainly because we have this recently disembarked debuff. Hopefully in 7 days that'll change. Oh, and it didn't go away before we started fighting, but it looks like we're gonna win anyway, so that's pretty huge. This one I was kind of worried about. The numbers should be a bit more even, but it looks like we still just destroyed them. So I guess it really just goes to show how strong all of our special units are, as well as having 4 more knights than them. Wow, these guys don't give up, eh? They're really, oh, they're really trying to fight us, but it looks like we stack wipe them there for 1,000 prestige. And look at this, we're so close to going to the next level. Oh man, I'm hyped. So once we take this loot back home, it should honestly be enough. Yes, and there you go. You can see the purple notification, meaning we have a major decision that's ready to be completed, because we have officially hit the living legend level of fame at 48. So earlier than I expected, really. So let's go ahead, spend 2,000 of our 16,000 prestige to elevate the kingdom of Mann and the Isles, and we can finally talk about the effects of this. So we get a kingdom, we get an army of 7.5k men, and we become feudal. All our holdings become castle holdings, and we get 3 extra building slots. So this is kind of why I wanted to play a One Barony challenge as the Isle of Man, because it's going to be our best chance of having the strongest barony we can, because we do get those extra slots. So let's go ahead and do this decision. It also boosts the development by 20, so you should see our development be a lot bigger than everybody else around us. There it is. We also get a royal court because we get the kingdom. Look at this, we get a beautiful nickname, the Great and Terrible. This legacy is huge also. It lets us raid regardless of our government type. So normally when you switch to feudal, you're not able to raid anymore. But this lets us to continuously raid, and you can see the raiding actually gives us an amazing economy. We have 4,000 gold from doing it. So we do have a lot of negative gold income right now, but that is mainly because all of our units switched over from costing prestige to costing gold now. We have 3,000 renown now. That is huge. You can see this one here gives us more loot for our armies, as well as defender advantage. And this one gives us plus gold from ransom. So if we keep these 2 perks, are going to help us a ton in increasing our gold income from raiding. There it is, our beautiful, beautiful 1 castle county with the extra slots along here. There's only 1 building we have that we can build left, and you can see we actually get a huge discount. Another boost from this decision is you get 50% discount to all your construction speed, or your construction time, and I think you also get a, yeah, you get a minus 200% discount to the construction time, so we will be able to build stuff super fast in here. Look at the development in here. We have 29 development in our capital compared to the whole rest of the British Isles here, which only have like maybe 8 or 9 is the highest I can see. So another really cool thing is, since we are the only place with the Norse Gael culture, and our development is now 29, the highest in the world in this 1 county, you can see we're getting a massive boost to this progress that we will gain each month. So another one of the benefits from that decision is we get this 7,500 man army, and if we take a look at this thing right here, you can see it comes with 5,000 levies, but you get actually 1,000 of these very special units that you can't create, and they have some mental stats. They actually have a ton of pursuit. I think that's more pursuit than even if you make a light horseman. But yeah, look, these light horsemen have 30 pursuit and screen, while these pirate units have 40 and 45. So our military is absolutely mental now. It's all the way up to 10k troops. So I'm going to take my army of mostly men-at-arms, combine it with my men-at-arms army from the pirate horde. So now we have a 5k army with pretty much only men-at-arms in it. We're going to take this, we're going to sail all our way to Paris and just completely sack Paris. But I think this is the perfect way to end this video. Only 33 gold? I feel like we could have done better than that. The French don't even want to come and try to stop us. We are just way too strong for anybody at this point in the game. Their measly 3,300 men will not be able to stop us. There's no way. Wow, look at this. We can hold 800 loot. That is so crazy. So my army is running low on supplies. I'm trying to... Oh, I did actually max this out, or I'm close to. But it looks like the French are going to come and try to attack us. We should still win pretty easily. There they go. We gain another 1,000 prestige from that. And now, since we are maxed out with our loot, I'll bring this home. A very nice 636 gold and prestige from that raiding adventure. So that just goes to show this raiding economy could keep us going in this game, even with a negative gold deficit. As long as we raid like once or twice like that a year, we would have so much money in this game. It wouldn't even be fair. But I think that is where I will end this video, guys. This was the third video in this series where I play as one county, but this one is completely different than any of the other ones I did so far because we really didn't focus on stewardship or economy. It was really a military-based game that we played today, and it was a lot of fun to change it up. And I think we want to show that you can maybe even get more gold from playing a raiding game like this than from trying to go tall, or at least you can get more gold faster, because we are only 64 years since the start of the game, and we already elevated the kingdom of Mann and the Isles. We have almost 20,000 prestige, meaning we could reform our culture and get pretty much any tradition we wanted at this point. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do plan on making more one county challenges in the future with some other very interesting counties that I found when I was doing some research. But that is it for me, guys. Have a good one.